Welcome to Feminism in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm Kailee Brown and I will be moderating today. Just as a collective intro for all of us, we're Apple Juice Productions and we're with female filmmakers, and we create narrative content inspired by books and fandom related things. So we're very excited to be here. So specifically, my name is Kailee. I'm the technical director for Apple Juice Productions, and I also work professionally as a cinematographer and editor. I'm a very big fangirl. I love the MCU. I watched all the movies over this summer, and I've watched them previously. And I'm also a huge fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then I think we'll go down and intro ourselves.
Okay. I'm Henderson. I work with Apple Juice Productions as a producer, director, Jill of all trades, extraordinaire person. Whatever they need, I'll do it. My day job is a case manager for a group home for adults with disabilities, so I'm that by day and a tired nerd by night. But I love all things Marvel in particular. Spider-Man's my favorite thing in the world, so that's us.
I'm Natalie Tingey. I'm here representing Apple Juice Productions as a close friend, and I'm the friend that's always ready to help out with anything music related or science realm related. My background in education is in the sciences, so as far as the MCU goes, I love to cheer on any geeks, techs, or academic type characters. And then in general, I just am always there to cheer on feminist creators, writers, producers, actors, and anyone who's just making content that brings women together.
I'm Cassandra Taylor. I am a cinematographer when it comes to projects with Apple Juice. My Marvel Street cred, I love all of them very much. But my favorite is probably Valkyrie and Black Widow. So that's me.
I'm Amanda Taylor, and I'm a writer and an actress. And I love all things fangirl and have a large hand in why Apple Juice Productions is so much a part of the fan community, because I think it's a good way to bring people together and celebrate stuff that we love. So we're kind of here to hang out and love it all together. So that's our conversation today. Will be more up than down.
Yeah, we all love Marvel, and I think we're really excited to talk about what we enjoy about it, and also just kind of what we think could change and get better, definitely like in a positive light. So to start out, we wanted to talk about who's your favorite female character, and then also share who your dream team up with. Go ahead.
So in the movies or comics,
You know, whatever.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
I know.
Let's start there.
Okay. My favorite female character is Black Widow, because in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, she's been this tentpole this whole time, and she's been reacting to everything since Iron Man 2, and so I love seeing the MCU develop and grow through her perspective, so she's mine.
Dream team up.
Oh, dream team up, A-Force, just in general. But specifically, I'm just so excited for Captain Marvel, so I want to see Captain Marvel with everyone and anything. So that's my dream team up, Captain Marvel plus X.
Let's just go down the line.
Yeah. Some background with my love of Marvel. It kind of started when the first Avengers movie came out, and I think I saw it in the theater about 5 times. Amanda was there for a lot of it. And then together after that, we kind of coined this share, post about your favorite Avenger Day, which we readdressed after when Age of Ultron came out, and it's really fun because a lot of it is the female characters we love. Anyway, so as of right now, my favorite female character is definitely Shuri from the Black Panther.
Yes.
Keeping on brand with my whole tech, geeky science stuff. Yeah, so cool and funny, and I just think she's perfect. But I also, there's a place in my heart for Jane Foster, but I definitely have different feelings about her in the cinematic universe, but there's things about it I love. I love scientific research and stuff, so at the core of her character, I really love that. And who wouldn't want to date somebody like Thor?
I'm crazy. Yes. Well, I already kind of said, but Valkyrie is probably my favorite. And Wonder Woman, but she's not in Marvel, so. Don't hate on me for that.
Everyone's great.
And my dream team up would be like Valkyrie, Scarlet Witch, and the Black Widow. I feel like they all could do some really awesome stuff.
Yeah, I thought about Valkyrie and Black Widow also, for sure.
They're just the best.
Agreed. Completely. All great things. My entry point to Marvel was also definitely Spider-Man, like the OG Tobey Maguire Spider-Men. And because of that, I also really like the Andrew Garfield one, and Natalie and I went to that every single week for the entire summer that it came out. Just because I think that I love the girlfriends. I love Peter Parker, I love Spider-Man, but I love the girlfriends. I love Jane Foster, I love Pepper, I love Mary Jane. I think that it's important that they're there, and it's important when they're told well and they're not just being, used for story tropes and what have you. And it's really fun that Jane is now Thor in the comics and that sort of thing. But my ultimate all-time favorite for post-year favorite Avenger Day is Wanda the Scarlet Witch, because she is both a girlfriend and an Avenger. And so for my dream team up, I want it all. I want the female superhero movie. I think Black Widow could, lead that group of people. She's more than earned it. I want to see the Wasp. I want to see Gamora fighting alongside Captain Marvel and Wanda. I just think that there's absolutely no reason not to at this point, and we'll get into this discussion more and more, but even when they're in the same movies, they very infrequently even look at each other, let alone interact and get to fight on the same side. So I'm gonna ask for the moon here and just say I want the all-female superhero team-up movie.
I totally agree. I think that would be awesome. I think everybody in this room would probably love to go see that movie. And along that vein of things, let's talk a little bit about what we have seen done well in the MCU concerning feminism. We had Black Panther come out this year, which featured 3 really cool and very different women.
Or if you include his mom.
Yeah, true. And then Infinity War was fun because we had a lot of different women in that, and we got to see them all come together. Ant-Man and the Wasp featured the Wasp, and we have Captain Marvel coming instead. So just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Start with me again?
Yeah, go ahead, Cam.
I would say I think Black Panther is my favorite show of feminist thinking in the most recent Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, because to me the solution to feminist thinking in movies is not we need a character that's X or Y or Z. We just need more. We just need more females on screen in general. That way, not one person has to encapsulate every single thing that a woman wants to see represented in one character, because that's a lot of pressure for one character. So just the more representation there is, the better chance you're going to get it right. So Black Panther had 4 great, really developed, really distinct, amazing female characters that had different strengths and weaknesses. They were nuanced, they contained multitudes, like a human woman does. So that was my favorite thing that they got right most recently.
Yeah, I totally agree. I forgot to add after Natalie, but I also really love Shuri and how she's so Thanks.
Wait, hands up if you didn't love Shuri.
I know,
right? That's probably a really cop-out answer.
Natalie, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say, at least with Thor Ragnarok, I think that the characters that they developed, especially in Valkyrie, but also with the sister, we really have seen better in at least Phase 3 of Marvel Cinematic Universe, more better characterization, better backstories about our girls, instead of Phase 1 where it was really strictly kind of just the girlfriend, or, I mean, not that we don't, I mean, I love Pepper Potts. She's like one of my favorites, and Jane Foster's and Peggy Carter's, but I think the recent phase is really bringing out a lot more realness in the women, and I'm just really excited for what's to come when Captain Marvel comes out. It's just killing me that we need our female point of view character, clearly, But I think that we're seeing better characters as of late, for sure, in Marvel.
I would say yes to that. And I, as you were talking about like the phases, I was thinking about Black Widow kind of at the beginning, like she's kind of a sex object, and like who is she? She's trying to take over, like she's taking Pepper's spot, but really no, she's like come so far, and like she's her own character. She always was. So it's been really cool to see just her every time, and like, oh, this is what she's doing now. And I really just love it. I love Scarlett Johansson. I think she does a great job.
Yeah, I'll bounce off you super quick because I feel like Black Widow's like a great person to look to see that transformation. Because in Iron Man 2, you get those vibes of like they're trying to pit Natasha against Pepper a little bit. I don't think it's like too heavy-handed that way as I recently watched it, but it is definitely there, that competition vibe. And now, I mean, we get to see Black Widow like really develop and to see how our women overall in the Marvel Cinematic Universe are developing.
And also on that, like you could have seen in the first Avengers, like, oh, she and Hawkeye are gonna get together, and then boom, now he's married as kids. Like they're just really good friends, and that's cool. Can happen. It's really cool. So
a surprise! You can be friends.
I think
I'm gonna be over here standing the TV shows, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like far and away the best representation of great feminism in the MCU. And it's not cinematic, but it counts. Okay, so we're going to talk about it.
I totally TV's on the table.
They have so many diverse characters, both racially and with their personalities and the way that they interact and react to each other. And they're just so well done. And I kind of like the non-powered people, if I didn't make that clear initially. But when you get Mockingbird in the mix with Quake pre-powers, and then you also have Melinda May, who is just this force of nature. I heard that woo. And they all have, they have their demons, they have their issues, they have their bright spots. They feel so real. And obviously with TV, you have a little bit more time to develop that and write those characters, and the people have been playing them for several seasons now, and so they know what they're doing. But like Gemma Simmons is like, because she's just a person. Like, she's just so real. She gets sad, she gets mad, she's happy, but she's such an integral part of the team. She's important. So I think when you're looking for those examples, that's the place to go. And if you want to feel like comforted and safe, like Marvel knows what they're doing. They know how to speak to their female audience. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is definitely the best example. We love Agent Carter, obviously, but it was the premise of the show. The point of the show was she's one girl in a sea of boys. So most of the show is one girl in a bunch of other male actors, and she interacted. There were some female villains. She had some roommate interactions, but it was like whoop, and then gone, and then really short. So I love the show, and I love that Peggy is fierce and female, but I don't think it represents the broad range that I love about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And that dynamic is really important to see, the one girl in a room of guys, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily our favorite, but it's still important. Big thumbs up.
Well, and that was your argument of not liking Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you were like, well, she didn't bring any Amazons with her.
Yeah, I love the beginning. More of that.
Yeah.
Mascara for 2 more hours. No more goals.
Yeah, and I think that's why we can agree that Phase 3 of Marvel is really getting better, because we're not seeing that trope anymore of like the one girl surrounded by 5 guys, because we got that a lot in the beginning, and we're not having that now. And I really agree about, as much.
Yeah.
I agree with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's so well represented in diversity. Just like you see a lot of different types of women, and the racial representation is also very good. And I think that's definitely the goal for Marvel in general, and just wanting to get there. I think they do such a good job with those characters, and it would be fun to see them in the MCU as well. So we kind of talked about this, but I wanted to just talk a little bit about what are the greatest deficits that we see. There's obviously sometimes a lack of female characters. What would we want to see beyond that? What are your thoughts? Let's start with Amanda and then come back.
Yeah. Okay, so I kind of already mentioned the fact that they very rarely interact with one another, and I don't know if you can tell, but I like to work with women. As a woman, I feel supported, and we're kind of on the same page about stuff. We can kind of like be more emotional, and it's not frowned upon. It's just like a safer space when you're trying to do intense anything, and working creatively can get pretty intense. So I just find that pretty unrealistic. That's not my life. That's not the life of most of the women that I know well. They don't often choose to be the only woman in a group of men. So I find that to be quite a deficit. The other things that I thought about were some of the pretty they're very buttoned up. They're very like eye roll, these men, they're so silly or they're so over the top, especially anyone interacting with Tony Stark. Which is fair. But there's not a lot of like freewheeling, really fun, good times women. But I think that's gonna change with Carol Danvers. I see your costume.
Yes. With Miss Danvers.
She is that woman, and let's all just, I hope they do it that, because I think that's what is missing, and I think it's unfair to paint the one woman in the room as the one who like follows the rules. Like, well, I'm the secretarial one. I think that's a bummer. And those are my two biggest complaints, and that's all.
Keep going off that. That's what I liked about Valkyrie. She was like so unusual for a woman. Like, she fell off the ship in her first shot. Like, she was like, no, I'm drunk. I don't know. It was really fun to see, and it was fun to see like her development. And then it was like, oh, she's actually an Asgardian. What? This is so cool. And also I thought of female directors would be pretty cool to do. Give a little perspective after Wonder Woman again. She just did such a good job, and I think it just gives point of view, and women see things different.
Yeah, and I agree that
different.
women should be telling women's stories too,
Yeah.
and be given that opportunity.
Yeah, like I think it was you that texted when the Captain Marvel thing came out. It was like, written by a man, like this article is like, oh, women empowerment, but it's written by a dude. I mean, not that dudes can't be feminists, because they totally can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for being here.
There's a lot of you here too.
That's great. But it was just like, oh, another.
Yeah, right?
We appreciate all of you here today.
Of course.
And I'll speak down.
For me, I have totally been thinking about as well more female directors. I feel like it was really exciting in Wonder Woman to have Patty Jenkins be a part of that team, and I feel like it did a lot of good for DC. But I think when I was first thinking about it, I was like, yeah, maybe like less of the here's the male superhero and the girlfriend. But I mean that's part of comic books is the girlfriend, and their presence and like how they bounce off of the heroes is really important. So that's not something I would ever want to totally go away. I think that Black Panther put a really good not spin, but they just had a good take on
Just did it right.
the love interest. Yes, they did it right. I think I want more just real storylines for the women, not necessarily like Captain Marvel. We're like expecting it. That's what's gonna happen.
No pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to happen. But I think just more backstory on our girls, like for sure. So I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna jump in too and say like let them evolve, because I see a Spider-Gwen / Ghost Spider back there.
Ew.
Hi.
Yeah, it's you. Yes. You're the only one, I promise. Oh, my turn.
Your turn.
Okay. I have a lot because I'm a critiquing horrible person, but I'm gonna focus in on the Spider-Man Homecoming. So love Spider-Man, so hyped on Spider-Man. I think that it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. In general, and this is a critique about the filmmaking industry as a whole, I would like to see a variety of body types in my females, please. Every single female, whether they are a janitor or a superhero, is a skinny supermodel, which is great, and those people exist and they should be represented, but not everyone is tiny. So please, just anyone who has like a little, just a little, please. The reason why I brought Spider-Man Homecoming into this is because Ned was a transition from the comic books. In the comic books, he's a blonde white dude. And so obviously he's not that in the movies. Great, update it. Putting the comics onto the screen is a way of updating them and bringing them into this century. Awesome. So you can update it, you can change what they look like, and they can still encapsulate that character. Awesome. In the same breath, they also got Aunt May, who is gray hair, old lady, and they replaced her with Marissa Tomei, who's the most beautiful person in the whole world. So, not to say Aunt May isn't gorgeous, and she is, but roles for women over 50 in Hollywood are few and far between. So maybe if you're going to update it in that way, don't just move it forward. Don't take it back.
Yeah,
don't be an Aunt May. That is
I definitely agree with that, and I think when there are more female roles being given, there's more chances for diversity. Like you see all of the male Avengers, and there's so many of them, and they all have like such different personalities and body types, and like they're all very different, and that's something that we want to build with our female characters too.
And there is a database, Wikipedia, like a Marvel wiki, MCU wiki, that has every single female character, and I looked at every single one. And so if I'm not thinking of one, please let me know. The closest there was to anyone even remotely kind of curvy was Kat Dennings, who's just skinny with boobs. So, and she's great, but like that was it. Anything.
I was just gonna say Squirrel Girl.
Yes, Squirrel Girl.
3 cheers.
Yes.
Which is she's not in the MCU, but she is in the new Marvel Rising, and she's being more and more included, and I think that is very positive. Also, squirrels are cute.
Not just squirrels, just every person in them. People in tech can also not be skinny. It's a thing.
So moving forward, we keep mentioning it, but let's talk about Captain Marvel and what we're looking forward to it and what we want to see. Amanda, I know you've read the comics, so let's start with you.
Okay, so I read the Kelly Sue DeConnick run. Like, God bless. I snagged her once at San Diego and was just like, I just have to say hi. She was super nice, and I was really awkward. But she just gets it, she knows what we're looking for, and that is exactly what I kind of already described, which is like, she's funny, she's freewheeling, she's doing whatever she wants. She's like, I'm gonna go over here now. That was a mistake. Which I love. I love that she's so flawed and just kind of like, she's kind of a messy person.
Yeah.
And in the comics run that I love so much, she teams up with Rocket, and I think they're just like dream team, because they're both just like that. Like, right? Like, ooh, that's a train wreck waiting to happen. But it's fun that she can be friends with all these people and have these interactions, and she has kind of like a more, I'm gonna say, male perspective, because we've allowed her to like evolve in that direction. So with the movie, Brie Larson is a genius. She's perfect.
Woo!
She's been in comic book adaptations already. We know she can do it.
I'm sorry,
That's
what's
the
that?
shot for Envy Adams.
It's on Netflix now, guys. Our lives are over.
Yeah, everyone go watch Netflix. Scott Pilgrim on Netflix. Anyway, she's gonna be amazing. Like, I have no qualms about any of that. My biggest concern is that we have so few movies that are driven by female heroes that every stake is like placed upon, like with Wonder Woman, it was like, this has to be the best movie of all time, or it's gonna be like, well, we can't do another one of those because those don't sell tickets. And so like when it was kind of flawed, and I was like, oh, that third act like really fell apart. I was super bored during that random fight that went on forever. I was like, that's awesome. Mediocrity is something we've been gifted. Like, we don't have to be like, this is the best movie you've ever seen in your lives, because there's still gonna be more. And having the promise of Captain Marvel has been really nice to be like, it's probably gonna be really, really good, but it doesn't have to be perfect, which is great. And I think that people will appreciate it, and it'll probably be elevated to a level, but it's also gonna be scrutinized to a level that is like kind of unfair. Because there are, I don't know, like a whole franchise called the Fantastic Four that was so bad they rebooted it and it was bad again. I'm like, I want that. I want that for like, oh, we made this whole Black Widow and it sucked and we recast it, we did it again. You guys, we're doing it again! Like, that's what I'm looking for.
Three Spider-Man.
Three Spider-Man. No, wait, let me just emphasize, 3 Peter Parkers.
Yeah.
They didn't even go Miles Morales. They're like, let's try Peter again.
Y'all
So
want to see
that's-
Uncle
I
Ben
mean,
die again?
I'm super excited that we get to have Carol Danvers, but I'm like, you know, if it's like, then that's also good. I think that's also a win for us. I don't think that it's going to be, but I think that having the pressure kind of taken off and being able to say, like, there are going to be more of these no matter what, it would be a nice guarantee.
Yeah, that would be. Totally agree. Natalie, do you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I am excited to see what the movie brings as far as female combat sequences go. The choreography, I feel like that has kind of been a weakness with the women in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I feel like they have some poorly choreographed fight scenes that, I mean, there's parts of them that are cool, but then you like really, maybe for how many times I've seen like the Avengers or something, I'm like, this looks bad. Like, I think Black Widow's so cool and you're making her look like she's not touching anybody. Like, dang it. So I'm excited to see what they bring to that. That's kind of a weird thing that I'm excited about, but I'm just so excited for the fight sequences to come and the friendship that she has with other females that we know are on its way.
Yeah, I think that's cool. That's something I didn't even think about, but you're totally right. And that's something that I remember from Wonder Woman. She has some really cool fight sequences.
Yes,
I
I think that
important.
Wonder Woman did an amazing job with the female fight sequences.
Yeah.
And it's really rough and gritty, and you feel like the pressure of
Yes.
per pound, you know? And so I think sometimes with DC in general, it can like be too like grim and pushy, and I like more pan out and we see all these things going on in the fight, like wider shots with Marvel that I like. So I'm excited for the Marvel spin, but hopefully a little elevated in Captain Marvel.
Let's just all think about the shot in Avengers when they go around and they're showing each person like fighting, doing their thing.
So
I was
cool.
like, it's still the best scene of ever.
Or like that splash in Age of Ultron, that like, opening scene is like,
Yes.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, both of those.
They know that's what we're looking for.
But we want to see them all at the same time.
Come on, how many people can we get in the shot?
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Captain Marvel?
Yeah. If anyone read the Entertainment Weekly article from earlier, like 2 days ago, I think it was, we know that we're not going to get a full Uncle Ben Dies origin story type movie, which is great. I think that's awesome. I am a little worried about developing her backstory. Because of that, I wonder how they're going to pair those things of not too origin-y, not too just in the action, we don't know anything about her. So I'm excited to see how they bridge that, because I do think not doing an origin story is the right call, but I hope they can balance it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So moving back into the MCU that we already have, what tropes and things are you tired of seeing? What would you rather see? I don't know. Let's start with Cassandra.
We kind of have talked about it a little bit, trying to think. There's just no happy medium. Like, we go all the way crazy with Valkyrie, and then we go all the way back with like the girl in Thor.
Oh,
Jane Foster. She's more like, I'm a scientist and I'm put together, so maybe we could have some.
Someone who's in between, like a nuclear physicist and the most messy person in the world.
She's not gonna.
What? Those are the only two kinds of women.
Yeah. So maybe we could see more like human.
And it's great that these are the stereotypes that now we're kind of bored of, that like a nuclear physicist and an absolute train wreck. That's great.
Exactly.
It
shows progression, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Something in the middle.
Yeah.
Which I think they can like.
This is a panel called Feminism in the MCU, and we haven't discussed the lullaby to Hulk yet, so here it is. Black Widow talking about how she was sterilized and how she thinks she's a monster in Avengers Age of Ultron. That was a bummer. And so I would like, because she's more than a baby vessel. She's a human being, and just being sterile or not being sterile doesn't make you a monster. It's pretty standard stuff, and I feel like it's been talked to death. So what I would like to see more of, like, the tropes would just be women having normal women experiences, like dealing with their own fertility and childbirth and then being a mother, or their perspective on relationships rather than perspective of people having relationships with them. Normal, everyday things being tackled by a superhero who happens to have a female body. That's what I'd like to see.
I love that. That's awesome. Amanda? I definitely answered this a little.
Yeah, you did.
Too much. But I think that, I don't know. I don't want to like refute what everyone's saying, but I do think that some of the female perspectives, like, it's not their story, and sometimes that's just the way it's gonna go, and that's okay because, you know, we're here. It's called Iron Man. It's not called Pepper Potts, the assistant to Tony Stark. Not sure I would watch that movie. Honestly, that seems really boring. Like, she's at a desk doing clerical work. She's handing people stuff on Tony's behalf.
She's CEO.
She's CEO now, but I'm just saying, sometimes it is like, okay, these are like, we do have cool sidekick characters, and I think that's another thing. Like, you talked about girlfriends, we have like the sidekick, other sidekick characters who are also can be, you know, women to these men or women to women. So I think that the tropes, the thing that I would like to see just like less of, and I think that we've gotten, you know, as the MCU built. I recently, so I have a podcast called My First Name is Agent, and I watched all of the MCU in preparation for Infinity War, which was a lot, like including the TV shows. Yeah, and tried to get through the Netflix shows. And that's like, you can talk to me after. But something that I, you know, that comes and goes, and it's always like, this is like the message of the MCU is like, I can do it by myself. No, I can't. Okay, I need friends. I hate them. And I think like, I kind of would just like to see like, teamwork is just accepted, and we don't have to continue to like, have this conversation over and over, but also like making women a part of the conversation and making them a part of the team in a more direct way. For a very weird example, Maria Hill and Black Widow never talk to each other. Like, is that weird to anyone else? Like, they're on the same side. They're from the same like organization. She's definitely her boss, and yet. So it's a weird thing that they've been like, you're on the team, but you're not like a part of the team, and you don't have a say, you don't have a seat at the table. I want to see them in leadership. I want to see them like doing things like that. There's like a teeny moment in Civil War when Black Widow is like sort of mentoring Scarlet Witch for like a comment, and I'm like, oh, like that's all you get. Sorry, see you in 5 movies. So I've just been holding on to that since like whatever that was, 2013.
Yeah.
Or I guess Civil War was sooner than that. 16. Thank you. I've got my fact checkers in the audience. They're being paid well. So yeah, I just like, I want to see them work together. I want to see them look at each other in the eyes and speak words to each other.
Natalie.
Okay, I'll be really brief and go. I'm gonna go back to fight sequences again. So I feel like recently they're incorporating more all-female or heavily female fight sequences with Infinity War and in Black Panther, for example. But I loved them in these movies, but it was fun. I feel like maybe I got some of this from my husband, but he was like, I feel like they felt so forced, or it was so heavy-handed, like, and it was like, and now we're doing this.
Yeah, the Infinity War one was like, wait, look over here.
Yes, and I want that to feel, I just want that to be a part of Marvel now and not feel so much that way. That's all I really have to say about like tropes, but it's a recent trope that is kind of a new thing that they're doing instead of like the original Avengers where it was just kind of Black Widow fighting alongside them.
So we've talked a little bit about comparing to Wonder Woman and things, but how do we think Marvel compares to DC? Cassandra.
I think she has some words.
I got in trouble at a panel for saying my words, so I'm not going to say
Mom talk to us after.
Yeah. We're always down for that.
How do they compare? Well, Harley Quinn was awesome. I love Margot Robbie. She was a bit crazy. I don't know if she's that crazy in the comics. But with Wonder Woman, how do they compare? I don't know. That's a hard question.
I think there's stuff we've already talked about, like they brought on Patty Jenkins as a director, and I think they've known the right time to like bring in the team of women when they need it, and it really benefited DC.
I know all the time though.
Yes, exactly, and that's
just once a year.
Once in millennia.
We want a Themyscira.
Flip the coin. Oh, actually, they're both heads.
That is very DC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Batman. Can I talk about Harley Quinn?
Yeah, please. I did not like Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad because I feel like they didn't want to make a choice. Either Harley Quinn is this hypersexual, psychotic, crazy spark plug on a lion running toward the fire, or she is, which that can be great. There are people like that, sure. Or she is this calculated, very controlled, very putting on this show of that person to get to wherever she is. And I think they wanted it to be both, and they didn't want to pick. And so they had this moment where she's sitting on the car and she's slouched over, and then the team comes and she's like, oh, just kidding, I'm crazy. And I think that was her trying to be like, but maybe. But like, commit to the bit. If you're gonna have this person be this like sex object vessel, crazy robot F-buddy from the future, then great, let her do that. Or just like commit to it. I don't know. That was my thing about Harley Quinn. Didn't love her.
Thank you.
Sure.
So I think Marvel has some more well-rounded characters in that, and hopefully they'll continue to give us more. Let's talk a little bit about Marvel Rising, which was mentioned. For those of you who don't know, Marvel Rising is a new series by Marvel that you can actually watch the first 20-ish minutes on YouTube. And it features Kamala Khan as Marvel, Squirrel Girl, Ghost Spider, and it features Daisy Johnson from S.H.I.E.L.D. as well. Amanda, I know you've watched it.
It's so cute. It's definitely for kids. It's animated, probably for like a 12-ish range audience, but Dove Cameron does the voice of Ghost Spider. She's so good.
She was really cute.
Like, I was dying. I cannot say that everyone who was invited to reprise their characters that they play on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was amazing at voice acting, but for the most part, it's really fun. And it's definitely a move in the right direction, because they're kind of competing with the DC superhero girls, which is also just the cutest thing ever. So it's kind of in the same vein of like, we also have that. Like, we're gonna do it too.
Yeah, and I do love that they're bringing, albeit the voice acting, I do love that they're bringing characters from the TV shows into other realms of Marvel, because I think those are fun characters that we would like to see in different places. So that's a fun thing about Marvel Rising. Yes. Okay, but does anybody have any female characters that you'd want to see that we haven't seen yet in the MCU? Okay, Amanda, why don't you go first?
Okay, buckle up, I will. Just kidding. Well, I immediately was like, oh, I want to see all these, like, the girl version, right? Like, I want to see Jane Foster as Thor. But that would be awesome, even though they've kind of, like, dropped her entirely.
She doesn't
like,
exist
come
anymore.
back, Jane.
She was
It was a mutual part.
So they said. And then I was like, oh, I want Kate Bishop. Like, I definitely want girl Hawkeye. She's amazing. Then I was like, do I want anyone who's not just the girl version of a boy character? I was like, Spider-Gwen. Like, all these people who are like, oh, it's the girl answer. Because those are great, and I think they're valuable and important, and they definitely have a place. But like when I was thinking about Spider-Gwen and the Mary Janes, I'm like, I want that so bad, but I want it not attached to a Spider-Man. I want it to just be its own thing. Mary Jane Watson is like very precious to me though, so do it wrong and I'm coming for you. I have a lot of complaints about X-Men, which like I don't know where that all stands currently in terms of like, does it belong to the MCU yet? I know they're like trying, but when they get it, I'd like them to call me because I need a Gambit and Rogue storyline that makes sense. Thank you. I'm like, okay. Who is watching these movies? Kids that grew up on the 90s TV show, right? And they were such a, like, they were so important to
that. And then they did Days of Future Past, no Gambit and Rogue. I was like, you failed. But I also really love Spider-Man. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Hello, Firestar. Like, I would watch the heck out of a Firestar movie. And Felicia Hardy. So in some iteration of Spider-Man, they were going to have the Black Cat be a part of it, and then it was one of those things that was like, just kidding, we're rebooting it. And I think that she is one of those women that we kind of talked about, where she's kind of like, she's a sidekick, she's, they're friends, they work together, and the romantic part of their relationship is very, like, tenuous at best, and in most storylines, nothing. And I love that, and I really would like to see, like, look at Spider-Man Peter Parker, who is very much known for being, like, a moody, dramatic, like, lover boy. But he also has friends who are girls, and they're also, like, kicking ass with him, which is cool. So Felicia Hardy is, like, definitely my vote. I want to see that done well, done with justice, because I think there's so much potential there to really develop, like, a cool woman in a sphere of girlfriends. Those are great options. I love that. Anyone else?
I mean,
Kailee.
my full name is Kamala. I would love to see a Kamala Khan movie. Miss Marvel is amazing. Thank you. You're my favorite now. So yeah, Kamala Khan would be amazing. Probably something that we will see, hopefully, fingers crossed, after Captain Marvel is the most successful movie in the world.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah. But hopefully, yeah, we can see that sort of representation within the MCU soon. I would also, it's not a new character, but I want to see a Black Widow movie. Just every single person in the original Avengers that hasn't been moved has had a movie.
Besides Hawkeye.
But he doesn't count anymore because he's married and he's like, because Jeremy
feels
Renner
for
isn't
you.
feeling it anymore.
Oh.
So yeah,
That's why we need
Hawkeye.
Kate Bishop.
But if you count Ed Norton Hulk, which is canon, then she's the only one. Please. Even if she's like 50 by the time they do it, I want it. In fact, that'd be even better.
Didn't it get greenlit? I don't know.
And not confirmed.
Oh, okay.
Rumored
Okay.
for about 15 years.
What do we have?
Yeah.
Just that SNL sketch.
Yeah. And that was perfect.
I also think
She
that
wears
was
like a cardigan over her outfit.
Oh, that was really funny.
That's who I will be.
Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about one missed opportunity for a character that is most likely not going to come back. So in Infinity War, in the Black Order, there were 2 female characters, one of them being Supergiant, who was cut out. And I just don't get why. I'm sure people have reasons or something they say about why they didn't put her in there, and there's already too many characters or something, but to have another female supervillain in that movie, I thought would have been really cool, because whenever I read about Supergiant, she's so interesting and has these strange powers, and so I think that if, I don't want Marvel to be cutting out female characters if they're cutting out anybody.
Right. Yeah, and we haven't even really talked about the great female villains like Hela, who is
Yeah, let's talk about the female villains for a second.
just for a hot second. I just want to say that I think it's really important that there are those
Yes.
in there.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I really liked. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
Had a female villain. She was not like the best female villain, but I was kind of like, this is
I
fun.
really like
This
her.
is a good time. And Hela was amazing. And there's always like girl henchmen. I feel like with here and there, like in Doctor Strange and more.
And side note, Disney loves to do women as villains, so.
Yeah,
True,
yeah. I think that's also important to be like, they're the heroes, they're also the bad guys. So I think they're doing that well. I would say that's a check mark for them.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Hela was so fun and just like very unhinged a little bit, but like in a good way. And
She's like a mess and a neuroscientist.
yeah.
Not the middle.
Oh my gosh.
She's both.
We didn't know we had
They
it.
usually are.
True.
My husband graduated in neuroscience, so she can say that.
Yeah.
Watch out. Watch out for that one.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes left, so just to finish out, what steps do you think Marvel should take in the future? What would you do if you would add or change anything? I mean, we've kind of talked about it, but any last thoughts, basically? Tammy, sorry.
Sure. Things that we sort of said already. Female production, female writers, female directors, they're there. They just want a leg up, so give them a leg up and let them tell the female stories. I mean, not.
Do you have any female directors that you'd recommend? Who would you want to see like do a Marvel?
Sofia Coppola. Oh my gosh. Honestly, Sofia Coppola would be that shit and amazing. That would be actually very.
I'd say that would be a weird choice, but I would be interested.
Yeah, no, genuinely for sure. No, Drew Barrymore has directed a bunch of stuff. I really like Whip It. That has a lot of action. I think the action choreography in Whip It is really good.
That would be really
and
cool.
I think she would tell a really interesting, fun female story. I love Drew Barrymore as a person, but I think she would do a great job with something that huge. So that'd be my thing.
Natalie?
I think I want to see more females leading the groundwork. I feel like Infinity War, it was kind of like the men leading the groups into different places, and I want to see more of our female characters doing that and gathering in the troops, because I feel like that's something women are really good at. Like, we're good at forming teams and, wanting to work together, and that's what I want to see more.
I like the groundwork idea. I had a thought and then it lost me, so come back to me.
I definitely will just reiterate that I just want to see the all-female movie. But I think beyond like teamwork, beyond putting women behind the camera, which is something that I'm very passionate about, I think that what we all are proving today is that there's definitely an interest in it for these female characters, for them to be, not only included but at the forefront. And I just feel like once Captain Marvel hits and we get that just tidal wave of Crazy Town, which is going to be all of us, right? Counting on seeing all of you there. I think it's going to be really indicative of where they take it in the future. And I think that the conversation has shifted so much very quickly and recently that I think they're doing what they think they can. So what I would say is just like go that one step farther. Do what you think you shouldn't be doing. Take the risk. Do the all-female movie. And be sure that you're giving everybody a chance to shine in different ways. Have a super feminine superhero who is not like sassy and unpleasant to be around, and like can be gentle. Make sure that you're really painting the picture of all the kinds of women that you know in your life. And I assume that all these guys like who are running the MCU, like Kevin Feige down, like know women. But if we don't know any, I think that we could form a focus group and help us
We're
introduce
definitely
them.
seeing the best.
Yeah. So I think that my advice, I know they're listening, and I would just say, just go further. Just take it further.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I remembered. So
Okay.
I will say, just females interacting on screen.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
oh, it's not weird and it's not obvious that they're like, yeah.
Yeah, they
It's
don't
just
have to like.
And
They
I
don't
think-
have to make a point of it.
I think this conversation is also coming at a very weird time, as like many of these people are, are they coming back? Do they have a confirmed sequel or not?
Totally true.
Are they? But I'm like, here are the people that I'm pretty sure are coming back, and I want more of these people and whatever. But in like a weird world where we didn't get what we assumed they're gonna do, and they're just gone forever. There's so many characters. Their roster is super deep, and nobody really like was super into Iron Man before they did the movie either. Like there were some like comic book people who were very engrossed in the world, but they've done such a good job with that and cast it so well. And you guys, he's the real Iron Man, and like now people love him. So I don't think it's like too much of a risk to be like, we're gonna pull this random woman out of like the deep caverns of the 1960s and make her a thing. All you have to do is be like, she's cool, right? And everyone's like, oh. Yeah, because the movies make them cool.
Yeah.
And I think, I really like just all the thoughts here, because I feel like the perception for so long has been like, well, superhero movies are more for boys, and that's who it's marketed to. And we know that's not true anymore. Like, Wonder Woman had such a successful box office turnout. I don't know how to say that, but it did very successfully. We have many women in here. There's so many fangirls out there. Like, we love Marvel, so I think it's important to be able to represent the females in that universe. So thank you everyone for coming. Just so you know, we do have a screening of our Harry Potter fan film. It's called Lily Evans and the Stroke of Midnight. It's happening tomorrow at noon in room 151A if you're interested. We will be here afterward for questions if you want a card or you want to talk and chat. And
We're real nice.
Yes, promise. We really appreciate you coming, so thank you.
Thank you.